Hey guys, I'm here with my wife Ashley, and we're gonna just review some very old photos of mine from as early as 2009, I believe, all the way up to 2015. So I have reviewed my older photos in another video before, but there's a lot more that you haven't seen in this video. I'm gonna do my best to kind of explain a little bit of what was going wrong or what I didn't know in all of these photos and how I progressed over the years. So hopefully you guys can learn something from this video and not just see us reacting to these photos and actually learn something. But before I continue, I do want to let you know that this video is sponsored by
Adorama.
And wait,
Right?
I forgot what the next line was. Oh yeah, Adorama is an industry-leading retailer that has been serving photography, videography, and audio customers for almost 50 years now. Their motto is everyone is a creator, and they do their best to unleash that creator within us all by providing us with the tools and expertise necessary to get the job done right. I actually shop at Adorama for both the great deals on products I use and recommend, plus the great customer service on those products as well. If you find yourself interested in any product I talk about in today's video, check out the links that are going to be in the
Description
area below for links to those products, and be sure to use those links if you decide to order. This is the first photo that I wanted to go over. I want to say this is 2009, right?
Yeah, that's your prom?
Yeah, it was either my prom or her prom, but you can see so many things going wrong with this photo. The fact that the lens is blurred, like there's probably fog on the lens. There's a little bit of motion blur. I'm not even sure what's going on. I think I was a fan of like long exposures at the time, so I was really trying to focus and stay still.
With all that grain.
Yeah, and there's a lot of grain because I was using the Nikon D60. That was my first DSLR, and I was using the kit lens that I had that came with that camera. So yeah, this is horrible shot number one. This is my little sister, and I wanted to do like, I don't know, quince. I think I was asked by my stepmom if I could take pictures of her, and my foot's in this shot intentionally because I was going to show you the next one, which is a different composition of, which is more of like the quince shot, and this is that shot right here. It is kind of cool in temperature. I'm showing you guys, like, I think these are my edits, my initial edits, my rough edits in Lightroom, not like Photoshop, but it is pretty harsh to look at.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in Twilight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very cool in temperature.
Cool.
And yeah, but I mean, at least there's a decent exposure in the shot. But now that I'm looking at it, I see like the dirt on the sides there.
Oh, yeah.
I was, I learned how to do Photoshop first before I did photography. So I was probably in the mindset of like, I'll edit that out. I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was my tia, my aunt, was telling her to go on the floor and pose like this. And so I was like, you know what? This is a good pose. And I just
hanging around, might as well practice.
Yeah, a lot of these early pictures were me kind of getting as much practice as I can whenever I can. So that's why I was like, you know what, let me take this picture. Again, this was the Nikon D60 with the kit lens, so the quality is very low. But again, I'm blaming the camera right now, but it's not the camera. It's me not knowing what I was doing, because a lot of these pictures are very horrible settings.
Oh my god.
and this one is a photo of Ashley. This was a photo shoot I did at a local park because I was trying to see.
Yeah, I remember you're like, get dressed, we're going to the park. I'm like,
yeah,
it's so hot. And
I was trying to test my skills as much as possible. I'm a lazy person, but when it comes to photography, I try my best to get better in different ways. So over the years, I would go ahead and try to figure out, what can I do better from each photo shoot. But this photo with the hair in front of your face, I thought it was like artistic.
Hey,
so I was like, oh yeah, like she's just letting the hair whip in front of her face. So but
art is subjective. So,
art is subjective, but I actually,
it's very focused.
I want to say I edited the shot very horribly, so I'll throw that on the screen. I wish we had it in front of us so she can see it, but it's horrible. I'm pretty positive it's gross.
This is my choo-cheese.
Her dog who passed away a while back? A while back. One thing that I wanted to really state about this photo shoot was I actually did it for a skit in college. It was, I actually went to school for TV film. For this photo shoot, I was doing like a skit where it was like comedic, where like she was pretending, you or your cousin, somebody was pretending to be like a photographer. But one thing I wanted to point out with this photo shoot was I think this was my very first time working with light setups.
Yeah.
Yes. So we actually had like film light setups. They were huge. They took up a lot of power.
Yeah.
And they were hot.
It was meant to make movies. Oh yeah, and I remember the big, huge like bag that you had to carry
Yes,
to carry
it was heavy.
The battery. Like it was not worth it.
Yeah, I wish I had it behind the scenes to show you guys because it was really such a complicated light setup. We had the most unideal light setup ever at that time. And this is my nephew, my niece, my nibblings, and same light setups. It was very hot, so I do remember trying to get a good idea of what I wanted to take, so that I don't waste enough time, or their time. My nephew Ryan in the middle there. So but I wanted to show this one because this is how it's edited. It was going for like the glow. Everybody's innocent and childlike and angels, and that's the edit for this shot here.
All that softness.
Yeah.
And that bright, what is it? It's like so bright in certain parts and then dark.
But the lighting is going to be good in this one, but then the next one, I'm not so sure.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh my gosh. That last shot might have been like, oh, maybe he's getting better. Maybe.
Yeah.
Nah.
Let's put random pictures, the parents' names.
This was the final result. And I remember I printed this, and I remember giving it to my mom and to Bianca, my sister. And I was like so happy, so proud. I was like, look, I did it. Here's
threw a bunch of pictures.
Here's your first child's first month. I don't know if you remember how they were lit.
Was it like the
the room's light. And in this photo, this one right here, it was, again, this was a relative. This one I actually did like the lighting. It was this is natural light, and we were in shade, and I was really happy with it. But I think what you can see in this photo is I was starting to experiment with like portrait, plugins in Lightroom or Photoshop where they smooth the skin. So that's what you might see in this photo, because I wasn't experienced with like retouching the skin in Photoshop. I just used plugins. Yeah, this is my nephew. He's now 5 months, and he was a good practice subject back then. I really liked the lighting in this shot, and it was actually lit. Do you remember or no?
It was lit by a sheet.
It was like we put him on the balcony of our apartment at the time,
Yeah.
very crappy small apartment.
Yeah.
And we got a bed sheet, and that's what's behind him. So it's just hanging up.
Used the bed sheet.
Yeah, and then we went ahead and used I want to say another bed sheet, a white bed sheet, maybe to diffuse the sunlight that was very harsh coming through the side. Mm-hmm. So then I just edited it. I edited it and ruined it. Well, I mean, I still like it, but yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah, and I think I just made his skin a little bit too smooth.
Oh,
and
dang.
yeah, here's when I started to use lighting. This is my very first photo shoot with the Palsy Buff lights that I used at the time. This is Ashley back then.
I know.
And I wanted to show that last one because there's a good amount of ambient light. I'm not sure exactly why, but then in the next shot, I went ahead and just the last shot, a lot of ambient. This shot, no ambient.
Yeah,
so,
I think this was at noon or something.
Yeah, it was at noon.
It was freaking hot. You can see him I'm all.
You're glistening.
Yeah.
But one thing that I wanted to point out is that I still think at this time I didn't know my settings. So I think one thing that I did wrong back then was just put max output on the flashes and then just change my settings till it looked fine. And here's one photo with her, with Ashley. Yeah. And do you remember who approached us that day?
Border Patrol.
Yeah, Border Patrol.
This is on the border. There's a park, I think it's called Untitled Park.
Yes.
And so it's literally on the border, and the Border Patrol was watching us, and then they came towards us and what are you guys doing here?
Yeah, this was at a time where I was very location scouting kind of, explorer photographer. I was like, I need to find unique spots for good photos. I was like, it looks so good. There's an empty spot for you to be, and in the clouds and everything. So I took this shot. That's the result. And actually have the behind the scenes right here. I want to say it was just that one light right there. That one Alien Bee. I want to say that's a 400. Maybe it's 800. With a beauty dish. This is the setup that I would typically use, which is again, that beauty dish there with another light. We did a photo shoot of her cousin and her.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
I wanted to show you guys this photo because I had so much freaking depth of field. I want to say I'm like an F32 or something, or F20 something. I did not know what I was doing at the time.
Oh my goodness.
This is my sister. I'm not sure what this picture was for.
I think it was 11th grade.
It was the instance of where I saw a spot and thought it looked really nice. So then I was like, we're going to do a photo shoot there, Bianca. I saw a really cool spot, so I wanted to do a photo shoot there. And you're the only subject that I know that I could work with that's not Ashley. So we did that photo shoot, and this is the result. Okay, so this picture is the kind of like a little bit of the behind the scenes, but it's not showing the main light, but it's showing the rim light because this was actually, I think, your birthday party. You remember?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Girl, warn me.
So this is her.
Oh my
this
God.
was her birthday party. This is her birthday party, and I decided, you know what? We're not doing anything really. We're not playing games or anything. Let's take some pictures.
Yeah, so we got a blanket.
So I just got a blanket. That's literally a small blanket, and I just hung it up, and I lit the background, and then I had a main light in front of her, and then I took the picture, and then I just edited her heavily with the skin softening here for this picture. This photo I wanted to show really quickly because it's very dark behind her. Behind the couple, you can't even see that it was a nice beach area.
Yeah.
It's what I would consider a huge fail on my part, and I wanted to just show that because I know how to do night portraits now, and I have videos explaining how to get better results for night photo shoots. But this one, it was not ideal settings, so you can't even see behind them for this next shot after they left because it was very windy, and I think it was like during the party. So I was like, can I take one picture of you guys outside? And they said sure. And then after that, I took that one shot, not ideal, and then I kind of figured out something to do with the settings, took this picture, and then, it's a little bit better. You can actually see the beach behind them, or behind Ashley. This is one I wanted to show because I had gotten the 50 1.8 lens, and I want to say that's what I used for this picture. I'm pretty positive about that. But this is how it looks edited, but this is the original shot. I think I saw photos online, and I was like, I saw a lot of before and afters of edits on DeviantArt, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can create cool images from just a little bit of editing. So I was like, this one looks pretty cool. This is my brother. He has colored eyes, and I was like, let me see what I can do. And I resulted in this. I actually still do like this shot. Yeah. It's just very, upping the clarity a lot. Just maximizing the clarity. And
it feels like it's telling a story.
Yeah, but I still do like it.
I don't know, the editing.
Yeah. Do you remember what we forgot at this photo shoot?
Some type of beauty dish or something. A modifier.
No, we forgot the actual light stand.
Oh my God.
We forgot the light stand.
Yeah, you can even tell at the angle.
Yeah, you can tell from the shadow behind him that it's going, it's uplighting, which is not something that you should do for photography, for flattering portraits most of the time. So that's why you can see the shadow going up behind him because she's holding it and she's like at a lower angle. But I think eventually after a couple photos, I was like, higher. This was my first model photo shoot. And I remember very quick story is that he went to the photo shoot not knowing that he was the first model that I was going to be working with ever. And then, so he was fine. And then he's like, oh, how long have you been shooting with models or something like that? And I was like, oh, no, you're the first one. And his confidence just disappeared. His confidence in me just...
the dead wall.
You just felt it shift. The air shifted.
Yeah.
And it was just like, he's like, oh, man. Like, he might as well have said, man, you don't know what you're going to do. But
no, but we did good. Once he saw the pictures, he really liked it. So,
yeah.
I mean...
So it ended up working out, and I actually have photos. This is the before, and this is the after. Very, very different photo. Like I said before, I was very kind of eager to learn as much as possible.
He would drag
very
us
eager
over to this location a lot.
Yeah, this is the popular spot in our area. It's the McAllen Convention Center. So sometimes there's a lot of events going on. In this case, it was a prom. So I knew it was going to be prom. I remember asking her or learning about it, that the prom was that day. So then I was like, oh, we can have people to practice on. So that's why we ended up doing. I think this was actually my birthday. I wanted to highlight my clarity face where I was just, oh, clarity, because that's what was going on. That's what was going on to this one.
Because it's hard. It's manly.
This was a paid photo shoot. Yeah, this was a paid photo shoot. So I was like, oh, this is a perfect photo to really bump that clarity. He's rugged, playing football. Yeah. So that's why I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, let me maximize it. So we're getting towards the tail end of the photos that I want to show you guys and review them. This is the beginning of 2014, I want to say. Or no, actually 2013. And I was beginning to start experimenting with adding more ambient into my shots than previously before. I was getting a little bit more understanding on that. So I intentionally shot this picture with a little bit of ambient as rim light. I want to say this is when I start to really focus on adding that sunlight as a secondary light as rim light. So that's why I wanted to show this picture and also this next one, which is also paid photo shoot. There's a lot of ambient light in this shot. So I was getting better as a photographer and learning that I needed to add more ambient in some photos of mine rather than completely blacking it out.
Yeah. And then you're using the bokeh now.
Yes, and then I had this is probably my 7200 or my 51.8. I want to say 7200.
I feel like the green just like pops out. Like,
oh, now that you mention it, I had also a clarity phase. I think a lot of photographers have these different phases. I had a clarity phase. I had different
phase.
Yeah, well, this phase right here was adding presets. So there is like some presets that I bought.
It's like Visco or something.
Not Visco, it was some other person's, but they had presets, and this one was like more of magenta and greens in the shadows or something.
I could tell.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, this looks so perfect on this photo. It looks so great. This is where, you weren't at this photo shoot because this is Michigan, but this is where I was starting to get more familiar with using a speed light now, and that's what I used for this picture. You can see that I was actually, you can see actually in the far left in the corner there's the light showing up.
Yeah.
I wanted to say it was just a shoot through umbrella with a speed light, and then this is another photo at our local town in Hart, Michigan. In case you guys know that area, that's where I'm originally from. This photo was a big turning point because it was lit with, I want to say 2 speed lights, one behind her, bare. There's a bare rim light.
Oh yeah.
And it's actually in a spot where I was getting more familiar with how I want to use the rim light and position it. And in the main light, I want to say is you actually have a behind the scenes. It's the Photech soft lighter. This is what I was using a lot at the time when I wanted to be very mobile, because we had already been shooting for years with the heavy,
super heavy,
the Posse buff lights. So
and this was before the wagon, right?
Yeah, this is before we started using a wagon to carry our stuff. We just carried it in our hands. So I was really starting to experiment with speed lights, and I think that's actually speed lights on the left and right there as well in these very cheap strip softboxes with the grids. This is actually in a very, very crappy small apartment that we lived in for a while before we moved into this house, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I wanted to show it real quickly because I was experimenting with fitness photo shoots for this photo shoot. So I was I still really do like the clarity in the skin in this picture, but again, I was just trying to learn every instance that I
kind of dialed it down.
I liked it. I like it in this picture, but I was really.
I think it kind of makes sense with like the theme of the shoot.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does match the theme. But he wanted to do like a fitness photo shoot, so I was like, I know something to do with photography. Let's do it.
Let's practice.
And we did it in our crappy little apartment that I could probably touch the wall if I just went a little bit on a tippy toe. And here's the actual behind the scenes, like one of my first behind the scenes with these speed lights. So you guys can see I was using Yongnuo at the time, the 562s, I think. This is her grandpa. Some of the photos that I'm showing you guys are like turning points and where things clicked, my eureka moments. And this picture was actually one light. The light that's behind him is actually rim light from the natural sun, the sun that was setting. So I really liked the position and the drama of where I positioned the light. And I think this was the Alien B800 with the softbox. Mm-hmm. And I was just a really big fan of how blurred the background was, how much ambient was. This is the unedited version, but I have the edited version which has more color because of how I adjusted the colors in that photo. But I really liked what it was going on. It felt like he was like in thought. So that's what I really liked about this. I felt like it had evoked emotion. This one is unedited as well, but I wanted to just show how I was constantly practicing in our little crappy apartment. You can see that the weights right there behind me on the back are just holding that backdrop down, and this is the behind the scenes 3-light setup. I'm pretty sure they're all speed lights. One thing I wanted to mention real quickly is that if you Google Slytherin Wizard, you'll see me like in somewhere amongst the first 20 to 25 results. I used to be like the first one that showed up.
Back in the day.
Yeah, like back when I took this picture and I uploaded it to DeviantArt, I was like the first one that showed up when you Googled Slytherin Wizard. But now I'm like somewhere like in the 20 something. Here's the last shot that I wanted to show, unedited. But I wanted to show this one because this is where I started to use ND filters in my work to get a blurry background when I was shooting in very bright conditions. Because if I didn't have the ND filter, then I would have to resort to either stopping down my aperture or using the ND filter, which I didn't know at the time. I think I learned it not too long ago, like maybe a couple months before this photo shoot. So I learned about that, the ND filter, and how it could reduce the ambient, which would allow you to use a wide aperture. So that's why I used that 3-stop filter for this photo shoot, and I really liked the results. So that's why I used ND filters for a bit going forward, and then I resulted to using different lights that they didn't use high speed sync, but they used something called super sync at the time. But I had to figure things out how to get the results that I wanted to get with these different lights. But eventually high speed sync came out and made my life easier and everybody else's. Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. I was using a strobe called the Metal 600 AD, and this is you can't see it fully in the light, but you can see that the Canon bag I was using is weight. And this is the behind the scenes for the next shot that I wanted to show, the very last shot. So you can see, again, we were at a local park, and I was like, that guy looks cool. Let me see if I can take pictures of him.
Yeah, he was like skateboarding with his friends.
Yeah, he was skateboarding with his friends, and I was like, that guy looks really interesting. Again, this is the behind the scenes because I didn't want to take it behind the scenes with the guy. So.
Yeah, we would always try to like practice before so we can seem more professional.
Yeah.
And then we would ask because it does get nerve-wracking, you know,
yeah,
trying to practice.
I don't want to waste their time and seem like I don't know what I'm doing, which I didn't know what I was doing, you know, years before. So I would practice on Ashley, and then I would ask, you know, the stranger that wanted to take pictures of if I could take a picture of them. I feel like this video is too long, so I'm going to go ahead and just end it now. Just thank you guys for tuning into this video and hearing me, you know, complain about my old photos and the process of learning. But I definitely wanted to learn, so I took chances over the years, you know, asking her.
It's all trial and error and
lots of trial and error.
Yeah, so it didn't come so easily, but you know.
Yeah, my learning journey was slow and horrible. I wish I'd learned quicker, but that's why I started making YouTube videos and helping people online so I can help you guys learn faster. That's pretty much it for this video. I want to say one last thanks to Adorama for sponsoring this video. It allows me to focus on making more videos for you guys, so thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Check them out. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
In the next one.
In the next one.